Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing fantastic. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you are all making sure to take care of yourselves during this bull run and that you're all having a great day. Don't forget to leave a like. It is a free and easy way to support the channel. And did I mention that it's free? And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. We have clearly, this is a little ridiculous. You're going to see, and you will hear about this over the next couple of weeks. I promise you. We have entered phase 2. We have entered into the great beyond of insanity of everyone's doing the exact same thing, trying to get ahead of everyone else. What happened was when Trump announced that they were going to make a strategic Bitcoin reserve for the United States. If you've been missing any of the last, I want to say 3 weeks, that's been major news. Not like, oh yeah, cool. Like, no. This has been like a gigantic thing because we've been hearing that there have been a number of other countries and even like more are like actually rolling out every single day, who are apparently in the background, according to Novograts, according to a number of high-profile Bitcoin developers, you name it. I mean, we also literally heard from the CEO of BlackRock that they are in discussion with multiple countries who are building a Bitcoin reserve. There's no real question mark. It's just more of a who is doing it at this point. These countries apparently are trying to buy up as much Bitcoin as humanly possible before the US even begins to actually buy. We heard recently that Cynthia Loomis, I don't know what state she's from, doesn't matter. She apparently is trying to develop a bill that can go through the US whatever, so that it literally makes it a law, which is insane to think about, that the United States would purchase it would be 200,000 Bitcoin per year. We heard weird numbers, but apparently the actual number, as far as I can tell from scouring the interwebs, is to buy 1 million Bitcoin after a 5-year period. There's a number of issues with that, as we've gone over before, for those of you who don't remember or want to know. There's not 1 million Bitcoin left on exchanges that's liquid and up for grabs. We know that there are, from the numbers we've been getting from Chainalysis and these other on-chain analytical platforms. It's estimated that there are around 700, 800, maybe 900,000 Bitcoin that's actually up for grabs. In total, that's left. The Bitcoin that's mined does not enter the market. And if it does get sold from the people mining, it goes to banks, it goes to corporations, or it goes to cryptocurrency exchanges. The idea is right now, if you've been watching any of the news, the purchases by MicroStrategy have actually been off the charts. Not like some of the charts. It's been what is happening? As I said before in a multitude of other videos, I was like, something's going on. I mean, first of all, it's this. It's the idea of the US purchasing. But I mean, when I say something's going on, there's something behind the scenes that we don't know about. We're not privy to. We haven't been in the room for. Someone said something to some rich person, and everyone is upping their purchasing of Bitcoin. I mentioned this years ago. This isn't anything, oh my gosh, what? This is the first time this is ever happening, that kind of thing. I've literally, how many video titles have I had where I said there's almost no Bitcoin left? In the future, there will not be enough Bitcoin for you and your family. The ETFs are ramping up. Like we had, I think this was maybe 2 weeks ago. We had, I think, a period for 3 days where there was like, I mean, minuscule outflows. And then, back with a vengeance, $1.3 billion in a day, 1.1, 1.18. It's getting to the point where like, it's almost like cartoonishly comical how much Bitcoin these people are actually purchasing. So the domino effect, and I mean, depending on which direction you're looking at the dominoes moving, everyone is trying, desperately to front run the United States. If the US is going to try and purchase 1 million Bitcoin, and there's maybe 900,000 left, this is why we keep hearing about these 5-figure purchases, like 50,000 Bitcoin from one company buying up all these things. The idea is that he who owns the Bitcoin kind of owns the wealth. I've sat here till I've been, black and blue and red and green in the face trying to let people get this and understand this for I don't know how many years, trying to make you all understand that Bitcoin is the winner. Bitcoin's the number one coin. It's going to remain the number one coin. Bitcoin is going to several $1 million per coin, and we are rapidly being slingshotted, I have no idea, into hyper Bitcoinization, where Bitcoin is going to be the future of finance, of everything, of money. If you haven't gotten that yet, my friend, I don't know how to help you. I really can't figure out a way. So rich people have figured this out, and they're buying up as much as humanly possible. When I told you not to, have a spiel going, but when I told you at the beginning of the year and then spring and then summer, and I was like, hey, if you have stuff around your house that you don't need, that you're not using, that's an excess, get rid of it and maybe find another place for it. I meant investing. It's because we are probably at this point around 365 days away from there actually being no Bitcoin left. You can think I'm being dramatic as much as you want. No one's waiting around. If there's not enough for the United States and countries are trying to accumulate more Bitcoin than the US could ever have, guess who wins? It's the other companies and the countries who will have more Bitcoin than the US of A. So like I said, the next couple of weeks, you are going to be hearing about this. This is like constantly in the news now. This isn't stopping. There's a company called Acrux, Acurx, who knows? Apparently, they have announced that they're adopting Bitcoin for their treasury strategy as well. The board of directors at Acrux Pharmaceuticals apparently greenlit the purchase, aimed to safeguard cash reserves not needed for operations within the next 12 to 18 months. Chief Executive Officer David Lucy pointed to Bitcoin's scarcity and resistance to inflation as key reasons for the decision. We are hearing from, this is maybe like number 15 over the course of this year, like the companies that we are hearing from, and there's more to come. Like I said, the dominoes, depending on if you're looking at the big domino falling first, the USA, like literally pushing everyone else into Bitcoin, or thinking about the small domino, like moving up to the larger one to where the US has to be like, we need to do this exact same thing as well. The domino effect basically plays on the idea of this company is not the United States. Got it. But if the US is about to do something, we need to do the exact same thing. As much money as we possibly can to make sure that we are not left with anything. Do you remember one of the main, it's not a mantra, one of the main ideas for Bitcoin? For those of you who don't know, this is a very powerful thing, and I need you to hear this. I think around the world, is it like 30 or 40 million millionaires? I think that's the usual number given, like by net worth. It is impossible for every millionaire and every billionaire to own an entire Bitcoin. One more time, the richest people on the planet. It is mathematically impossible for each of them to own an entire Bitcoin. When you talk about the 21 million supply, the 3, 4, 6 million that are believed to be lost and gone forever, we have roughly the numbers that have been thrown out to us before is around 13 million Bitcoin that's actually up for grabs. This then leads to every wealthy person only being able to buy a third of a Bitcoin. Do you understand that? That's all that they would ever be able to own. When you hear these companies, when you hear the ETF issuers purchased over 1 million Bitcoin in 10 months, when you hear how much Bitcoin MicroStrategy has and the other countries who are also buying, it is going to cause Bitcoin's price to reach $10 to $15 million because of literal, it's not FOMO. Is it just Mo? It's literally just missing out. These people will realize it is impossible for them. Like there's so many, you've seen over the years, all these rich people who consistently, like they talk nonsense about our market and this and that. And then you see them jump into it. There's a lot of other ones in the future who are going to realize not only did they miss out, but they missed out completely. They can't just sit there and go, okay, fine, now I'll buy a Bitcoin. It's going to be out of reach for them. They will not, even now, if all the Bitcoin went back onto the market, these people would only be able to each own a third of a coin. Remember the number that we heard before? To be part of the Bitcoin 1%, you need 0.28 Bitcoin. Do you get what's happening with all of these purchases? There are going, if you've been buying up Bitcoin consistently over the years, as I've been screaming into this microphone, you are going to have more Bitcoin than the richest people on the planet. They will never, ever, ever be able to own more than you. Do you understand what finite means? Do you understand what scarcity actually means in this situation? Do you understand those numbers? There are going to be billionaires in a couple of years who will realize their mistake and they'll try to buy and they won't have access to an entire coin. Lucy was clear though. This is purely a financial strategy and has no connection to the actual company's development endeavors. This embrace of Bitcoin mirrors a growing trend among institutions and governments warming up to cryptocurrency. Do you understand? This is the future. Guys, you're in it. Do you understand that you own a piece of the literal future? I don't think you get it. I think a lot of people really haven't come to that conclusion. One of my friends sent me a text message. I don't think he's watching, but hello. Sent me a text message and he was basically like thanking me for, hey, thank you for pushing me into this market all these years ago. And he was saying the idea of like Bitcoin reaching like multiple millions of dollars in the next like decade or so. He's like, I'm going to have enough to be able to like retire my family. He's like, we're going to have enough money so that my family, like I can tell them you never have to work again. We can just travel and have fun. And yada, like he was like, I can't believe it. And it's because like he now keeps up with all the crypto news as well. He didn't before. I made him get into the market and he was like, okay, cool. I'll let it sit there. But now like he's coming to all these conclusions. We have governments who are buying up Bitcoin, companies, institutions, hedge funds, ETFs. There's some, I don't think I have it here. There's another gigantic multi-trillion-dollar company who just announced that they're also getting into it. They're like we can't wait anymore. Not the other one that we were just talking about where the CEO said he felt silly. That was one of the most annoying things in the world. I forgot who it was. Some guy who runs some gigantic, multi-trillion, I think it was like a $5 trillion company. And he was like, I feel silly. We don't have any Bitcoin. We're going to get some now. And I was like, you feel silly? You feel silly? Anyway, yeah. So a crux, I don't know. I honestly have no idea. Pharmaceuticals is also going to be buying Bitcoin. I think it said they bought $1 million. I don't know where the actual words are, but I saw that they bought $1 million. And they, like many other companies, plan on doing the exact same thing over and over again. And like I've stated, when we hear that the US is doing it, for those of you who missed or aren't on Twitter as often, the guy Plan B, this was like a month or two ago, he basically like kind of like predicted a lot of this stuff that's happening now. And he said, like, when the US announces it, he's like, we're going to skyrocket to 1 million because it'll be this thing where everyone's like, we don't have a choice. If Bitcoin becomes the new US dollar, if you're holding it, you are going to be wealthy forever, or at least the next 120 years, as long as we have Bitcoin mining. That's another company has entered the game, announcing that they're buying Bitcoin. MicroStrategy, Similar Scientific, Metaplanet, Cosmos Health. There's a lot of them. There's all the time. And all the other ones who were purchasing stuff for like $500,000, they didn't even make it into the news anymore. Do you know how crazy that is? There are companies almost all the time who are announcing that they bought $500,000 worth of Bitcoin. They just bought 5 Bitcoin. That's 15 millionaires and billionaires who will never own a third of a coin, and it doesn't even make the news. Yeah, that's that news. And yeah, let's move on. Also in the news, Bitcoin mining company Mara, they're in the news once again, has raised approximately $1 billion through the sale of their convertible notes. The company revealed that some of the proceeds from the sale would be used to buy more Bitcoin, although they didn't mention the exact amount. Marathon Digital announced multiple times this year, but I think it started, I want to say September, somewhere around there. They've been announcing over and over that they were trying to raise $500,000 and they got the money. They were trying to raise $700,000 and they got the money. They were trying to raise so-and-so. And now they finally got there. So yeah, this is another company who is going to be buying more Bitcoin. A lot of these companies, if you read through the fine print, they typically tend to use a portion of the money to like pay off like other expenses and stuff like that. But the bulk of it actually ends up being used to purchase Bitcoin. In the press release, the company revealed that it had raised $980 million. Would love that. From its convertible note sales after deducting the initial purchases, discounts, and yada yada. The development is significant as Mara revealed that it will use some of the net proceeds to acquire Bitcoin. It is worth mentioning that the Bitcoin mining company already holds 27,000 Bitcoin. I just saw, I don't know who posted this, but I give you a digital high five. Someone posted it and I was like, yeah, I feel the exact same. Someone posted on Twitter something along the lines of like, they think it's cool that all these companies are buying up all this Bitcoin, you know, that they're like bringing awareness, if you will, to this market and people getting into it and being like, I want to also, I'm going to get into the market as well. But they said exactly what I've been saying. They said they would love to hear that 27,000 Bitcoin was purchased by 27,000 different people. So that, you know, we had more people on the planet having it. And I wrote, I don't know if they responded back. It doesn't really matter to me. But I was like, you know, if we had 2.7 million people each holding, you know, 0.01 Bitcoin, I'd feel even better. They're buying up. I feel like there's no sense of urgency in nearly anything that's happening anymore. And I mean anything. I feel like people are kind of disconnected from reality. In the last few years, it's been 5 years for those of you who don't remember. It's officially been 5 years since all the madness began. For those, like, you remember, like the madness, you know, Coco Roro, like, think about that. It's been 5 years. And I think since then, I feel like no one's really present in a number of different ways. I feel like I can't really explain it, I guess, but even I think years like 10 years ago, 8 years ago, people would have like gone bananas for this kind of news. Like one company raising $1 billion to buy Bitcoin is absolute insanity. But now it does almost like nothing. It's kind of similar to like the first time when we got up to like, I think it was $99,400 per Bitcoin. And it was like almost like silence. It's this, I don't know what's going on, and I can't really put my finger on it in any given way. We are in a multitude of ways witnessing like historic changes in the world, the planet, in finance, in like thought, in like everything that's going on. And like it feels like no one cares. People tend to only care when something has passed them, or like it's no longer. I've been seeing them. Like there's all these memes of these like people crying, or like, oh, like, here's a good one. People usually use like that one scene from Interstellar, like where the guy's like crying at the bookcase. I was gonna say not spoiling, the movie's like 90 years old, where the guy's like crying at the bookcase, and then people write like, I should have been buying, me realizing I should have been buying a house as opposed to like buying Pokemon cards, like whatever it says on it. And is this kind of like, people only get upset when they realize that like it's so far gone that they'll never be a part of it. And this is what like, there's never there's not really a preemptive like move. If you hear that something's going to take over the world, and you know that something's going to take over the world, and you get news every single day that something's going to take over the world, I assumed that people would like jump on it, like the literal bandwagon. The United States says, and trying to make a law that says this thing that's finite, that there's not a lot of, that not everyone on the planet can own. It's now impossible. Like think of the other 4 to 5 billion people on the planet. Literally think of them. They will never own 1/100th. They will never own 1/1000th or 1/10,000th of a Bitcoin ever. And we see all this stuff rapidly happening. And the main concern is like the price. Where's the price today? Oh, it went down by 2%. Pff, whatever. Like there's no in between that. Like you're witnessing the changing of the literal digital guard. Like the world will never be the same. The world will never be the same after this. The US dollar has dominated everything since 1944, 1945. And even before that, the people who ruled and the things that they had and like the way that order went, it's going out the window. Like you've opened up your window across the street and you see your neighbors like throwing everything out the actual window. It's all changing. The way that money moves, what money is, how we think about finance, how we think about how information travels around the world, the things that we're getting in science, everything is changing at a rapid pace. And it's so there's so much that I want to talk about, but I know that I can't because it would change the topic too much. But I've sent like, once again, if you get a chance, look into CRISPR, CRISPR. It's like in 10 years, you're not going to recognize the world. I promise you. Like that's not fingers crossed. No, I promise you, you won't recognize the world. And it's the people who are holding Bitcoin and the people who have all the money who are going to rule and own everything. And I sent stuff like that to like a couple of friends, and like one of them has sent me back like a thumbs up emoji. Like the other ones don't care. Like it means nothing to them because they think that life will always be the same. There is no change for them. There is no like desire to like move outside of the box or even look outside of the box to see like what's changing, what's morphing, how are trends going. Like this is what like when I say before, like think of the idea that like you're here. You don't understand how insane that is. You're listening to my words. You're listening like to this news. You're hearing the change that's happening. You are front running billions of other people who refuse to get it, who don't want to get it, who think that things won't change. I've known people for the last couple of years who are content with going to work. I know people who work 3 jobs. And when I try and tell them like, hey, there's a way out of it. No, I'm not really in the mood to like try anything new. You know, things will be fine. I told you the friends I know who do not invest. They don't save for the future. They don't save for retirement. They spend all of their paychecks and then they go, I don't have a lot to eat this month. And I'm like, there's no idea of like current self-preservation or anything for the future. There's nothing that tells them I'm getting older. Things get more expensive. I've gone to the supermarket with some of these people and they're like, do you see the prices? What happened? And I've tried explaining inflation before during a supermarket walk with people, and they turn off again. I saw some of that in the news. It doesn't really matter to me. Well, it just mattered to you like 48 seconds ago when you realized that you can't afford everything that you wanted to buy. Like, it's that kind of, do you understand what it means that every rich person can't own a third of a Bitcoin ever? Oh boy, it's getting rough. Like, it's really, 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 really getting rough. Once again, everyone in the race will not make it to the finish line. A lot of people who think they're in the race, they haven't even put their shoes on. There was something, I forgot what it was. Like a couple of days ago, somebody in the crypto space was telling people to like focus, like pay attention to what's going on. And I can only use the term lollygagging. Like, people just kind of like not really taking any of it to heart, not paying attention to anything. Do you know what the world is going to look like in 5 years? Do you know in 15 years there won't be any like homes to buy for normal people because corporations and heavy-handed investors will have all of it? There will be no Bitcoin left for you to buy, not only at these prices or ever. If you're not on board with this, you are going, I can't say those words. You're going to have a very difficult, sad time in the future. If you think I'm over-exaggerating, try me. I mean, really, let's have this conversation again in 15 years. So much is happening. So much is moving. I'm going to try, on the other channel, I forgot what video it was, where I was telling you those books about finance, or I was holding them up and stuff like that. I forgot. I can't remember the name of one of them. But they're so fascinating because one of the books was written by this woman, I think between 2013 and 2017. And she was explaining like that she's like a wealth manager. And she was like hanging out with all like the rich people and having discussions with them. And these people were actively telling her, they're like, we're going to buy everything. Like, we don't want some things. We want all of it. We want all the land. We want everything. And she was like, this is only going to accelerate in the next 10 years. And I was like, that's 2027. And then she was like, if this trend continues, and I've seen documentaries about it, like even like recent ones, and they all talk about the exact same thing. It's rich people like, no, like we figured out that if we own everything, there's nothing left to buy. Like we have it. You can't, like, you will pay rent to us forever. We will tell you what your HOA is. We will tell you what, everything belongs to us. And these people realized it, and they're doing it now for Bitcoin. And some of you hear that they're buying up all of it. And it means nothing to you. Absolutely nothing. And I find that to be just special. I think that's going to do it for this video. I sincerely hope that you got something from it. I hope you've enjoyed. How's the holiday season going for everyone? It's my favorite time of year. I guess nostalgia and movies and TV shows and stuff like that. In order for me, it goes Halloween, Thanksgiving, and then Christmas. Like, Christmas is like the ultimate, like at the very top. I watch Christmas movies. I make cookies. I make cinnamon rolls. I drink hot cocoa. Quintessential. I find the cheesier, the better. And I mean it. Like, you'll see if you try it as well, the more cheesy you are this holiday, the more you'll actually be able to enjoy it. I think it's very, very, very fun. Anywho, yeah, I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.